don't give away equity when you don't have to. When you're looking for someone to fill a skill gap, it is much better to simply hire for that position. If everyone is in the same boat and rowing the same direction, then you are going to get there much faster with 5 people all doing it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Cheer Biz podcast. I'm your host, Dan Cotton, and today we are going to be talking about business partnerships, and really specifically, if you're already in business, should you be looking for an additional partner? Now, before we get into the episode, please head on over to Cheer Gym Owners on Facebook and join that group if you are a gym owner, or All-Star Cheer Coaches and Owners and join that group as well. There have been some awesome conversations going on in this group. And in fact, this question came up in one of the groups, and I was like, boom, I need to talk about this on the podcast because I don't want to type it all and I want to spend a little bit more time on it. So ultimately, this question was asked in one of those groups, and the gym owner asking basically said, I've been running my gym by myself. I know this gym owner. She's an awesome gym owner. She's incredibly passionate about her gym, and she's done a lot of really great work and really done it all herself. And she's like, I just can't keep doing it all by myself. And so I'm thinking about getting a partner. And does anyone have experience bringing on a partner mid-business? And there were some people who said they did, and some people who said they did and they had a really horrible experience. And I didn't really see anyone who said they did and had a great experience. It can go really, really well. So there are certainly times where it makes sense to bring on an additional owner for an exchange of equity, in exchange for money or sweat. And we'll talk through those different things. I can tell you right now, I'm sitting here talking to you on the Next Generation Gym Owners Cheer Biz podcast, and I was not an original owner in Next Generation Gym Owners. I've been with it since the beginning, but because I worked full time, I couldn't commit to being a true owner of the company. And so I just kind of worked behind the scenes and helped and did some tech stuff for them because I was the most techie person in the group. And eventually it turned into an opportunity where I could take over an equity stake in the company, and it worked out for a variety of reasons, of which I'll go into reasons why you would want to bring on a partner in this episode. So there are situations where it can work, and it was already an established partnership, so it made sense. It is a little bit harder, in my opinion, when you have been either an established like 2-person partnership for a long period of time to bring in another owner, or especially if you are a sole proprietor owner, you're just by yourself and you're bringing on an additional owner into a company that you have created, you have founded, you are the original founding member. It can sometimes be really hard to bring on an additional partner because there are all sorts of things that come with that. So let's go into the reasons that you would bring on a partner and then some just thoughts and considerations of what we should be doing. So number one reason to bring in a partner is if you are looking for someone who has a skill set that you do not have. So you are like, I need someone to be the CEO of this company. I'm not a good CEO. I'm a really great operator. So I'm good at, being in the weeds, talking to staff, coaching in the gym, and you're good at doing those things, but you're not good at the vision, the strategic objectives, all those other things. It's just thinking about doing that literally makes you want to die inside. Well, that may be a situation where you want to look at bringing in a partner. Or the example I used on Facebook today is maybe you're a really great coach and you don't know how to run a business and you have no desire to learn how to run a business and you can't do the front end side of things and you don't want to do any of that stuff and you just want to focus on coaching, but you want to be the owner of the gym. That might be a situation where you consider bringing on a partner, where you have someone who has a skill set that you do not have and you look at bringing on a partner. However, I think this is too common of a thing that people jump to, is to add a partner to the business when they don't really need a partner. They just need an employee who has a skill set that they don't currently have. You don't necessarily need to give away equity in your company and give someone a voice in decision-making beyond what an employee would normally have. And you actually can create a lot of problems by bringing in a partner just because you're looking for someone to do the work that you aren't capable or wanting to do. That is really because you're giving someone equity in your company, which means they now have a vote. Now, it may be a lesser vote, but especially if you're bringing on another partner and you're doing a less than 50% stake for two owners, that is very likely going to turn into a contentious relationship really quickly if they're going to be involved in the day-to-day structure of the business. Because you, as the 51% or more owner, can ultimately say, I am the main owner. I get to make the call. Now, you can have rules and regulations and things, agreements in place that it doesn't actually work like that. But the reality is, when you're 50-50 ownership, you either are going to have to get to a point where you agree on something, or one owner is going to have to be able to win out and kind of pull rank, or one owner is going to have to acquiesce and say, okay, I'm fine. You do what you want to do. And that can create for a somewhat toxic environment in partnerships. Now, the greatest partnerships have a lot of friction. They're going to be challenging one another. They're going to be pushing one another. And if you have a power disparity, it can sometimes cause problems. So that's definitely something to consider if you are looking at, what level of equity, what level of voting rights this person is going to have in how you make decisions within the company. Where people use this is really when they need someone who has a skill set that they don't have, and they don't have the money to pay out to hire someone to do it. So in exchange for their work, they get an equity stake in the company. This can be great in certain circumstances. When you have literally no revenue to contribute to this thing, you may be able to say, hey, I'm going to give you 45% of the company, and you're not going to have to buy in, but you're going to work it off. You're going to give it with sweat equity. I don't love this method. I understand why people go to it, but I don't love this method because, one, it can feel kind of icky sometimes on both ends. It can feel icky to the owner who founded the company, who is looking at it and going, I put so many thousands of dollars into this, hundreds of thousands of dollars into this company to build it up. And now you're coming in, and all I'm asking for you to do is work. And if they're not working in the way that you want them to, or you're not getting the results that you want, it can be really frustrating. And because you've given them equity in the company, you can't just fire them. You can't just let them go because they're an owner. So if they come in, and even if they have a skill set you think they want and they don't deliver and they suck, then you now are SOL because you've signed a membership agreement, and now you've got not a membership agreement, a partnership agreement, and you've got to buy them out. And believe it or not, you absolutely do have to buy the partner out, even if they haven't contributed anything financially. Now, you can set up that contract in terms of your buy-in strategically. So if they don't meet certain expectations, there are outs or certain levels of percentage that they own coming in. So there's a lot of ways you can do that with an attorney, but oftentimes I see people skip that step and get themselves into hot water. I myself did this in our very first, when Tori and I bought the gym, we actually had a third partner, and we brought him in. We shouldn't have. We didn't need to. It was more just because I'm nice and he was my friend and we coached together. And I was like, well, he's a good coach. And so we want him along for the ride. And I totally didn't need to do that. And in the end, it did not work out. It was very contentious. It was great for like 6 months, but then it went really, really poorly. And it just started going downhill. And we had to end up buying them out. It wasn't a really fun parting, and we could have just avoided that by just having them stay on as an employee. And they contributed nothing financially on the front end. Like, they were just brought in because of their connections and what we felt they might bring to the table. And we had to pay them out monetarily, even though they had been paid by the business while they were in it too. So ultimately, we felt like we kind of got a raw end of the deal on it, but that is what it is. And we put ourselves in that position. We didn't have any agreements going into it about what a separation might look like. Anyways, I'm rambling a little bit, but ultimately I would say, when you're looking for someone to fill a skill gap, it is much better to simply hire for that position. Even if you're hiring someone who is not super amazing at it to start doing it, it's still better to hire that person because you have control over it and you can learn and iterate and terminate and move on, or find someone new or promote them up. There are a lot of different ways around that situation that you can work with. So I want to just encourage you to look at hiring first. Now, this individual mentioned that, it's really hard to hire sometimes. And if you hire someone, they're going to have a second job most of the time because they aren't making enough from this position to not have a second job. My argument would be the same thing goes with a partner, especially if you're bringing in a partner and you're giving them an equity stake, but you're only paying a minor amount and you're not really taking profit shares because you need a partner to generate more revenue, then that revenue is not going to be there. So they either need to, A, be well off enough that they don't need another job, or they are going to be working another job and divided attention. So I think what a lot of people are looking for when they go, oh, I'm going to make this person an owner, is what they're really trying to say is, I want someone to come in and work in the gym, but I want them to care as much as I do. And in my personal experience, it is very, very rare to find someone who's going to come in for a sweat equity portion of the business and care as much about the company as you do and work as hard as you do as the original founding member. It's a different feeling. It can happen. It absolutely can happen. And if you're that person, I'm not talking to you because you're probably in there. You're like, well, that doesn't apply to me. I've done it. And you guys, I've done it, but I'm not a sweat equity person in NextGen. I had a financial contribution to buy into that company. And that's where I think there is a little bit, when you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, I want to be a part of this company, I'm going to buy in. I think that creates a lot more stake than just the sweat equity portion of it, because then you're just trusting that this person believes in the product and wants to be a part of the product that much. So that's my personal opinion on the sweat equity method. I just don't love it. On top of that, you're really paying for someone to come in and do things that you're not good at. And a lot of the times it's things on the business end in the cheer industry. Every once in a while, I talk to people who are pretty good at running the front end and they actually just need a coach to come in. And for the love of Pete, you do not need to give away equity to find someone to come in and be an all-star director or something like that. You just don't need to do that. You can just pay that person money. Or even if you don't want to give away equity, you can still negotiate some sort of a profit or revenue sharing deal with that person that doesn't give them actual equity stake in your company. There's just a profit share of a program that goes to them. So there's a lot of strategies you can use to get people in and maybe not have them on as high of a salary initially, but then as they grow a program, they start to make more money. So just some considerations to think about there that I think can be really profitable for you. But as I mentioned, you're bringing them in to give you a skill set. And oftentimes what you really just need is someone to coach you on those things, someone who actually can walk you through the things of how to do it and teach you how to do it. So then and then you can teach someone else and they can execute on that thing. And really what you're doing is you're giving away a large amount of equity in your company, which theoretically could be worth a lot of money someday. And so you're really getting the most expensive possible business coaching with a whole lot of downside and no upside. Because if you hire a business coach, if you're not getting what you need, or you feel you've gotten to a point where you can't learn anymore, you can just not use them anymore. You can terminate that contract and move on, and you haven't given away equity in your company. So that's, in my opinion, a much better route to go, is hire someone to come into your company and do the thing, or hire someone to teach you how to do the thing so you can become really, really good at it. And then you can then hire someone and teach them how to do it, train them how to do it. It's a much more fiscally responsible method. It does require a little more work on your part if you're going to learn it and then teach someone rather than hire someone who already knows how to do it. But the most expensive thing is going to be, especially if we're talking like marketing, sales, those kind of things, you are going to be paying a little bit more, especially if you're looking for someone who has a lot of experience and knows what they're doing. The other reason to bring in a partner is for cash flow. And this is to open it up and say, okay, I know that I want to expand into a new location, or we need some cash flow coming into the business because of maybe some poor budgetary things, and we need some cash flow. Or maybe we need to buy a whole bunch of equipment. We need to redo, or we need to expand. And it makes sense to bring in a partner because they're going to contribute $100K or $200K or whatever it is to the company. They're going to buy in. They're going to buy their equity, knowing that over time they're going to make that money and more back. And that's really where I think there's a lot more value in bringing in a partner, and would be a situation that would make sense. But for the most part in cheer gyms, a lot of the time that environment doesn't exist where you need to bring in a partner who's bringing in equity, unless you're trying to buy a building or buy equipment or things like that. Most of the time when you see equity partnerships like that, where people are buying in with money, you're seeing it in a situation where they maybe need to buy product, or they need to go to production or go to market, or they need to spend a whole bunch of money on marketing and they just don't have the funds and the cash flow to fund it. So they're bringing in a partner and they're giving them a percentage of the equity in exchange for the money. And that can work really, really well. But again, I think those are super limited situations. It should definitely not be used as like, oh, crud, we're in a really bad spot financially, so now I'm going to give away equity. Your first place to go if you are in a really bad space financially where you're like, your budget isn't working, is you need to look at what can you sell? Be it like physical product, what can you sell out? Like, can you run a clinic? Can you run, like, what are things you can do to bring in immediate revenue now? If you haven't ever listened to my What I Would Do to Make $5,000 this month if I needed to episode, go listen to that one if you're in that position. Number two would be go to people you love and care about and say, hey, I'm in a bad spot. Would you be willing to loan me some money? Three would be refinance something. So use something that you already own, that you have leverage on, that you can take to the bank and refinance. So you have a physical asset. Four would be just go to the bank and see if you can figure out some sort of a loan or line of credit to take care of that situation. So there are a number of approaches to take financially before you give away equity in your company. Because again, I like all those agreements a lot more because A, I know for this term, I'm getting money from you. And for this term, I'm going to pay it back at this interest rate. Whereas if I give away equity in my company and then my company explodes and I'm giving it away to solve a minor problem, like let's say I'm short $25,000, okay, which to some of you might seem like a lot of money. To some of you is like, yeah, it's 25K. You can figure that out. But let's say I'm short $25,000 and it's a big deal to me. Like if you are short $25,000 and you don't have a lot of assets, $25,000 seems like a lot of money. It can seem insurmountable. And you go, I'm going to give away 50% of my business to get this $25,000. Well, you give away 50% of your business for 25 grand and then your business, you recover from that, your business explodes. And that person now has 50% and you're doing a $500,000 a year in profit, which is awesome and is possible with a cheer gym. And that person's getting 50%. They're getting $250K annually, right? Now, I'm using back of napkin math here. This is not exact. But let's say you truly have $500,000 of profit distributions. I'm going to use big numbers. Then they're getting $250,000 a year because they gave you a $25,000 loan to come in and be a partner. So I think you just want to be really, really cautious if you're looking at a cash flow situation. And if you're going to bring in a partner like that and you're going to have an exchange of cash for equity, then you should understand how to do a business valuation and understand what your business is worth. And it may be nothing. Okay. You may do a business valuation and find out your business isn't worth very much. I actually was just in a room just a few weeks ago with a number of business owners, over 100 different business owners. I think they were representing at least 70 different businesses across industries. And everyone in the room was doing over $1 million in revenue a year. And there were multiple people that when they actually did their valuation were like, yeah, my true enterprise market value is zero. Even though I'm making money every year, when you look at all the other factors, my market value is actually zero. But you might look at it and go, oh, I'm actually worth, $500,000, $1 million. You might be worth those things, especially if you own buildings or stuff like that. So don't give away equity when you don't have to, is the ultimate message of this episode. As we kind of wind it down, partnerships are a really complicated thing. They're valuable. Every business I own is technically a partnership. Tori and I own the gym together. So I own that with my wife, which is a whole nother subset of challenge to be a business partner with your wife on the day-to-day. There's a lot of positives, but there's also a lot of challenges. So I have a partnership there. She's also a part owner in Dream Camp. So I have that partnership with her as well, although I primarily run that company by myself. And then I'm a partnership in NextGen with multiple business partners. So it's not just one set. That is probably the most complicated partnership relationship I have, where we have essentially 4 different partners, and one of them is a married couple. So really 5. And yeah, there's some real challenges that you have to work through. So that said, there are some major advantages when you do have partnerships if everyone is rowing in the same direction. If everyone is in the same boat and rowing the same direction, then you are going to get there much faster with 5 people all doing it. You are going to struggle when you have 5 people in the boat and 2 people rowing. You're not going to get there as quickly. You're going to get there not at all if 3 people are rowing in the other direction. Now, this can also apply to you having your staff. I would view your staff are very similar to partners. They're just compensated at an hourly or a salary rate for their contribution to the company. This is why I would ultimately recommend, if you are already in business, first look to hire. In almost every circumstance, look to hire or look to solve your revenue problems in another way without giving away equity in your company. If you ultimately decide that that's the route to go, do a true business valuation, understand what your business is worth, and get what you are worth from that buy-in. And if your business is worth nothing and someone is still willing to buy into it, then just know that you might be getting the better end of the deal, but long term, it might really score for them, which is up to them. It's up to them to take that risk and see if they want to invest in your company, to see where you and them can take it together. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to the episode. I don't have any big marching orders or challenges for you as you leave. Just be thoughtful as you head into a partnership. If you're in a position where you need help, where you want business coaching and you don't want to bring in a partner, obviously Next Generation Gym Owners can help you. We focus on coaching gym owners and helping them grow to be the best gym owners they can be and help their gyms grow and live out the life of their dreams. So with that, thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.